Why do I need to be good all the time? I'm wrapped around his finger, but he is mine. Don't care what they say, too late anyway. Why do I need to be good all the time? Nah, 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 no drama, yeah. Nah, 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 no drama, yeah. Nah, 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 no drama, yeah, yeah.
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday, happy first of the month, and welcome all. Come on in, welcome. Um, let's see. I'm just excited to be here. Thank you all for joining me. It's another live episode of Cleaning Life with Kia, and it fell on the first of the month. It has fallen on the first of the month a couple of times. I love when it happens on the first of the month. It's like, you're just starting a new month, starting a new beginning. I get the chance to blow my cinnamon. I blow my cinnamon every first of the month. And I don't know, some people do it, some people don't. But for those that don't, it is to cinnamon is good and it represents like blowing in prosperity and abundance. I do it every single month on the first, like the kids dread it, especially Eli, because they know he have to clean it up the next day. But I just stand outside my door. You stand outside your door, and you just blow it in. And so it must be something to it because I do it every single month, and it works. It works for me. So um, to those that blow your cinnamon, it's all with reason, and we all know why we do it. But those that don't, you may just want to try it. So welcome everybody. I am Kia Smith. I am the owner and founder of Help Now. It's a small cleaning business here in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. I do cleanings, regular cleaning, general cleanings, deep cleanings. I do a lot of decluttering, organizing, basically whatever has to do with household management. That's my specialty. And so I'm using my business as a platform here to just talk about things, talk about cleaning, talk about life and everything that's in between, because you can't get away from your household management. It's just something that is just never ending. It's every day in, day out, Tuesday, Saturday, Thursday, whatever day. You have to maintain your home. Now, there are some people that don't think that's important, and I'm not judging. This just might not be the place for you, because we're going to talk about cleaning and life and tips and just how to make life better in that aspect, and just share these are things that we have to do all the time, and pretty much everyone has to do it. There are some few rare exceptions, just like I said, but for the most part, we're all in this struggle together. So you want to talk about things that are common, but it's uncommon to talk about. People, they don't talk about it often. So this is just what I do, and I've been doing it for a while now. I have 4 children, so I have to keep things in order and together. Yeah. So just overall, just through life, I've just picked up a lot of things, and I'm still learning and growing. And so I just want to share that with y'all, because it's definitely helpful. And so, as for my business at Help Now, our mission is to help our clients manage their home and organize parts of their lives that matter the most by bringing families and communities together through complete household management. We have a passion to help heal and nourish our clients through life, whether they need help now or later. So, yes, again, happy Tuesday, happy first of the month. Listen, half of the year is already gone, like over and gone already. That is absolutely insane to me. The time went by so fast. I mean, it's like, we say that all the time, like, where did the time go? Where did the time go? But I mean, like, literally, where did the time go? Um, so I just hope that, everybody's just hanging in here, because it has been quite a half of a year. Just want to tap in for those that are new. I always ramble a little bit before I actually start the the topic, and that's just what I do. It's just my thing. And for those that tune in often, you already know. So how are y'all feeling and what's going on? Y'all happy, mad, sad, glad, um, tired, hanging on by a thread, a combination of it all? You know, what's going on? How y'all feeling out there? Because it's definitely a lot going on. Life is definitely doing its thing. And I think everyone, I know everybody is feeling it. You know, it's not to say that everybody is struggling or going through, but I mean, considering the woes of the world, like it's just a lot going on and we're all being affected by it. You know, I see a lot of people, like you can just tell on their face and their demeanor that, you know, life is having their way. It's having its way with people. And I just, you know, just try to send, you know, good energy out there and try to be a light every day because it's enough gloom. It's enough gloom out there. It's hot outside and the world is crazy. And, you know, that's kind of like a brief synopsis of, you know, what's going on. You know, so I hope y'all are feeling good and I hope you're doing good. I hope that, you know, financially you have what you need, the resources you need in order to live out here. So I have my business, but I also work in retail pharmacy and I do inventory. I'm an inventory specialist. And so part of my job description is I'm in charge of making sure that like the price changes and everything are current. And it's a mess. Like, so with the click of a button, like the price just changed. I was doing changes today and it's like the item may be $4.99. And just like that, they decided to change it to $7.49. I remember back in the day, you would have a price change. You would see maybe at the very most, maybe a dollar and a half, and that was pushing it. But like now I've seen changes up to like $5 and $10 in a while. So, you know, people are out here buying and spending, which your money isn't stretching as far as it used to. And you have to buy these things. I mean, the things that are going up, these are like everyday household necessities. So I just hope that everybody's hanging in there. You know, that's the type of stuff also the people they don't be talking about. They don't be going around. You know, people will say, like, I'm broke. They'll just say it out of, you know, people just have a tendency to say, shoot, I'm broke. But like people really be broke. Like people really, really, really be broke. It was somebody that came in the store, they were trying to steal some flour, like some flour, a bag of flour at the store. And I'm just like, I kind of giggled on the inside a little bit because I'm like, flour, that's new. But people are out here struggling. Like they need stuff to cook with, they need pampers for their baby, household products. People be taking deodorant and you know, it's hard. And I've seen, and it's not just like homeless people. And I mean, it'll be people coming in there like well dressed and look like they're well to do. They ain't trying to spend that money, that extra money. They're trying to take the rest of their money and put it in their gas tank or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it's a lot. So I just hope everybody's safe and have what they need. And I hope they're in good spirits. And you know, you gotta have good spirits about yourself, you know, with everything that's going on. I just hope nobody's allowed themselves to, you know, get into a slump or anything. And for those that have, that's okay because that happens. But I'm praying for y'all, you know, and sending up good energy. We all need that. Yes. Ever want to be dismissive of that. And so however you feel, and I sure do appreciate you taking the time to watch me live, do my thing, or catch the replay. I really appreciate it. Things been really good this way, no complaints. Things been going pretty smooth, actually. My son and my mom, they just had birthdays in June. I love birthdays, so it's just really special being able to celebrate. First of all, just celebrating every day with them, but especially on their birthdays. I love them so much, and I can't tell them or show them enough, you know, how much I love them. It's an everyday type thing, but like, you know, it's like a cherry on top when you have birthdays. So, you know, everybody's good that way. Um, Work's good. Business is really, really good. And I received a phone call today. I was so excited and so honored and I felt so in my purpose and so humbled. And I don't know, it was just all the good feels, even though it wasn't a really good situation. So someone reached out because their husband just passed away. And so, I just, my heart just went out because you have to deal with the sheer grief, the instant grief from that. And then you're trying to, you're home. Like I had a client who lost her husband. It was a few months ago. It was kind of the same thing. And there were just certain rooms that it was hard for her to go in. It was certain things that was hard for her to touch and things for her to do. So she was very grateful to have someone to come in and kind of think about all the things that she didn't want to think about. So it was the same case when I got the phone call today, and it just reminded me how important it is that what I do, is very important. I know some people may just think, oh, you're just cleaning, you're just like, no, like I really get a chance to help people. And it's not always the case where someone has passed away or it's some sad occasion. Like there are great things that have happened where people have called us over to come handle some things, but it's just a blessing that people trust you in their space when they're going through things, even if they're not going through things. It is just going into somebody's house. That's a big thing, just besides just, somebody will come over here and clean. Like, no, somebody's actually in your space. They're around your things, your home. It contains all your energy, all your love, all your business, everything. So to allow and trust somebody to come in, and take care of things, like I just feel really, really good about that. So I'm very pleased and honored to help this new client um, who just lost her husband. So sending her love and light as well, because that's a lot to deal with. Um, let's see, the kids are good. They're really good. They're enjoying their summer. They're already talking about how they're dreading going back to school. And I'm trying to tell them, like, don't sit there and meditate on it, because the more that you sit and think about it, the faster the first day of school is going to show up. Just try to be present and stay in the moment. Um, so, and I'm definitely trying to stay in the moment. So my oldest, 2 weeks from today, he will be leaving and he will be going away, going to the Air Force. And so I have just really every day been in a space of, I try to stay in as much solitude as I can. I'm not one of those people, some people, they just like attention and, oh, my baby didn't leave. And oh, they just make a big deal. And I'm not saying that it's not a big deal, but I feel like if you're really trying to handle a situation and get a grip on it and, try to calmly get into this space of transition, like sometimes it's just good to kind of keep things to yourself and kind of meditate and kind of go inside of yourself so that you can process all of this. Maybe I'm just different, but for me, it's like, wow, I have people around me who have had children and they have gone on and left home and have children and got grandkids too. But it's just different for everybody. And people, they go through these different phases at different times in their lives. So this is just my time right now. And I'm going to miss him so much. And, um, it's just a transition for me because once I was just been thinking about it, up until this point when he leaves 2 weeks from today, it has just always been us. I've always been mom and I've always been around. I've always been here for immediate advice, to help in any way that I can, to help guide him, to, be like, that's not a good idea. Don't do that. Or, able to come to his rescue if he need me and, just being there. So by him leaving, like I know we'll be with each other in spirit, but physically, that's going to be different because he's about to start a new chapter of his life that I'm going to be a part of, but kind of not really. So I ain't gonna talk about that too long because I feel my tear ducts welling up. So I've just been taking a lot of time, to myself and with myself, trying to get ready for this next transition. And it's good. And then like his brothers, we have to figure out a whole nother dynamic of life without him being physically here with us. And he's about to go live his best life. And I am so happy for him and I am so proud of him. I really, really, really am. It is just, it's just a different space. So y'all send me some love and keep me in your prayers and send me some good energy too. Because like I said, we all just have our own little things that we battle with, even though you may not just announce it and be making a big deal out of it. It's those things that go on in your heart that nobody can see. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But in the meantime, we still have time. So we still have 2 weeks with him. So we're gonna go and have some fun over the holiday. We don't really just celebrate the fourth like the fourth, but we are gonna get into like some fireworks. So we went to the fireworks stand a few times actually. And we're really excited this year to shoot some fireworks. They went to the country last year and they had a blast. So we went to the fireworks stand this year. We got some good stuff. So I'm just amazed at all the stuff that they have. I'm not big on like fireworks like that. I kind of let the kids have fun, but this year I said we're gonna all just get out there together and hang out and have fun. So listen, why does thing look like a stick of dynamite from the Looney Tunes cartoon? Like I want to light it and hold it and toss it like this. But I'm not gonna do that, baby, because listen, I'm clumsy. It might fall right in my shirt or something, and blow my chest to bits or something. But like, man, they got some cool stuff out there. And then they got this big old thing. Like that's insane. And look at the wick on this thing. Like, we got to really like this thing. So I'm just excited. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, he's not gone yet. So we're gonna have us some fun and just enjoy each other and love on each other and just continue to create memories, along the way. And it ain't the end of everything. It's just like I said, this is just a transition. It's a lot going on for me in life. And then my next to my oldest, he'll be a senior this year. So he about to go. It's like, oh my goodness. But then I'm anticipating that, like I said, they're going on with their little lives and stuff. And I gotta go on with my life too. So Mom gotta have a life too. So, it's gonna work out for everybody. And as long as everybody's safe and happy and being good people and doing the right thing, I'm good with all that. Okay. So, enough of that. The real reason I'm here is to talk about floors, doors, and other random chores. That is our topic for this evening. So I just wanted to stop by and deliver a few tips. We can't have enough tips, too many tips, right? And so for me, it's a must that I keep a lot of tips in my arsenal. First of all, I have a full functioning home with children. So I have to have tips to help me, tips and hacks to help me along the way. The more that I have, the better. And absolutely, I have to keep a lot of tips and hacks in my arsenal because I clean homes. That's what I do. So every home and every family is different. So I need different tips and different tactics to accommodate my clients. Everything that this client like and want, it may not apply to this client or that client and that client. So it is just really good to have a lot of tools and tips and hacks, like I said, in your tool belt and in your arsenal. So, you can just kind of whip it out, depending on what it is that they need. The worst thing to do is to run across a problem and you're struggling. So it's just good. And I'm not saying that I know everything, but I do like to inform myself and I do like to try out different tips because I'm telling you, they come in handy all the time. And so this evening I wanted to give a few tips specifically for like floors and doors because I don't think that I give enough information. Like when I am giving tips and doing demos and all that type of stuff, I don't think I do enough with floors or doors. I just be like, well, mop the floor. It's not like I'll be going into like detail a whole lot. So I just want to go a little bit more in detail because floors and doors are important. And I haven't been so big on like floors over my cleaning career. Like I'll do them and I'll do a great job, but it was one of those chores that I found an appreciation for later on as I would clean. Like I clean everything else, no problem. I don't put any head work into it. It's just like, I gotta go do this, clean this kitchen, or go in there and clean the bathroom, or do this, or scrub the walls, or do the windows. But like floors, I just be like, oh, floors. But it's gotten better because I found like the type of mop that I like, the type of brooms. It's just so many supplies out here. So you have to dabble and figure out like what works for you and what helps and gets you the most, bang for your buck. So I've gotten a lot better, and so I just have some information, for like floors, doors, and other chores. So let's go. Um, Hardwood floors, your tile, your laminate, hardwood, and vinyl. You can use a microfiber mop to pick up dust and hair. It's way more effective and it gets fine debris. So, when you have those floors like hardwood and laminate and all those type floors, when you have like a lot of dust and hair, it just attracts everything. When you're using a standard like broom to like sweep, you can't get it. Like you just can't. The hairs get tangled up all in the bristles, and you just cannot and will not get everything. So if you use a microfiber mop and just have like a microfiber towel, how it picks up all the dust and the fine debris, it'll do the same thing but for your floors. You can mix 1 cup of vinegar to 1 gallon of warm water for a streak-free tile or vinyl floor. And that's not for like marble or stone. So like when you're cleaning your floors, be very particular and know like what type of floors that you have, because every hack is not going to apply to every single floor. You don't want to mess your floors up. A third tip, you can mix a 1/2 cup of white vinegar and 1 gallon warm water and a few drops of mild soap. And you use a damp mop and you dry with the soft towel after you're done. So when you're dealing with wood floors, please make sure not to saturate your mop and have your floor soaking wet. Like you cannot do that. You're going to have problems. Don't do that. But your floors still have to be mopped. So use a damp mop instead of a soaking wet, mop to mop your floors. You can sprinkle baking soda on sticky spots and spritz lightly with water and scrub gently for residue-free cleaning. So, when you start mopping your floors, there are just some spots that aren't going to get clean when you first, like, just initially go over over the floors. You know how you have those sticky spots in there and they just won't come up. So sometimes you have to kind of prep your floors. That's what I say. I said, let me prep the floor. So, before I mop, I'm gonna sweep it or dust mop it really good to get all the stuff off the floor. But then there's some like gum. They may get the gum up a little bit, but it's still kind of sticky or whatever be on the bottom of people's shoes or whatever. You know what it is. You didn't have sticky spots on your floor. So it helps to do that, sprinkle the baking soda and spritz it with the water and just kind of scrub, just gently scrub it. You don't have to get down on your hands and knees and just, break a sweat, but it helps to lift the stain so that when you go and you actually mop the floor, the stain, the sticky spot, it'll actually mop away. Because I've seen people, they'll mop floors and they'll have these spots in the floor. So part of the floor is clean, but you still have those sticky spots. So, technically your floor isn't clean if you still have that stuff on there. Rub scuffs with a clean tennis ball or a pencil eraser on vinyl or laminate floors. So I've seen that a lot, and I've done it a few times actually. You use I haven't used the pencil eraser, but the tennis balls for sure. You know how you get scuffs on your floor from your shoes? If you take the tennis ball, you can buff out the scuffs. For carpets and rugs, you can sprinkle baking soda on your carpet. It's just like a natural carpet freshener, baking soda. And you can, if you're in the midst of cleaning, you can just put it on your floor and leave it on there on your carpet for like maybe 15 minutes and then vacuum it up. Baking soda, it absorbs the odor. So you can do that, or you can just leave it overnight. Like before you go to bed, you have a carpet, you can put the baking soda there, leave it overnight, and then come back and vacuum it the next morning if you like. I don't know. Since I've gotten older, like carpets seem like it used to be the bomb back in the day. It wasn't nothing like a soft, cushy carpet. But so dirty. They are so dirty and requires a lot of cleaning. And the thing with the carpet, you know, it's like a surface thing. Like the vacuum cleaner, it'll get the stuff up, but it does not get down like to the ground. It don't get all of that stuff out. I don't know. I just cringe because, you know, especially when people walk on their carpets with their shoes and stuff, even if they don't have shoes on, sometimes it can be kind of cringy. And, you know, you got kids, they're walking around, they're laying around, they're picking stuff up. I don't know. I've just fallen in love with like hardwood floors or laminate floors or whatever versus like carpet. They aren't my thing. They're pretty to look at, but I guess I'm looking at it from a cleaning aspect. It's just, you know, dirty. Um, Also, you can mix 1 cup of water, warm water, and a half a cup of white vinegar, and 1 teaspoon of dish soap. And some of these DIYs, they'll call for like dish soap, and I guess you can use what you like, but I always like Dawn. Like is always the brand that's recommended. And when I'm making solutions and it's calling for dish soap, I always use it, and it does a fabulous job. So 1 cup of warm water, half a cup of white vinegar, 1 teaspoon of dish soap, and then you blot the stains on your carpet if you have a stain with a cloth dipped in a solution. And basically, it's a DIY like carpet cleaner. So vinegar, dish soap, and water. You can apply shaving cream to stains, wait 10 minutes, blot, and then wipe with a damp cloth. And that is a DIY stain remover. So shaving cream, like a lot of these things like baking soda, vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, and this other one, shaving cream. Like you can use those for so many different cool hacks. So shaving cream, you just like we got through doing telling you about the DIY stain remover, you can use it for a stain remover. You can also use it to prevent, I did a tip here not too long ago. You can use it to prevent fogging. Like in your bathroom, you know how your windows, your mirrors get all steamy and foggy. You can use shaving cream. There's a process where you can use shaving cream and it eliminates, and it actually works. Now, the thing about me, I don't care if it's foggy or not. I'm not going to go through all that trouble and clean the mirrors like that. Once I clean them, they clean, and if they fog up, they just fog up. It'll go away. But for those, you know, that care about stuff like that, it actually works. And then shaving cream is also good in bathrooms, like if you have a bunch of boys, or you know somebody just can't aim in the house or whatever, and you have that urine smell, you know, like around the toilet, because that urine, it spills over and it just gets into those spaces and crevices. And I'm telling you, if you don't have the right cleaning resources, like the smell would never go away. I don't care what you go in there and do, you know, if you're not doing it right or you're not using the right thing. So you can spray shaving cream around the floor and let it sit, and it also absorbs the odor. And then you mop it out, you know, clean it up, and the smell is actually gone. Now, I do love that tip, even though it's shaving cream. You're like, oh my gosh, it's causing some, you know, you think it's messy, but if clean is what you want and you want the odor gone, it is definitely worth doing, and it's a really good hack. For your rugs, you can use a lint roller to grab hair crumbs and tiny debris. Lint rollers are good too for picking up small things. You can use a squeegee for pet hair removal. Just run a clean rubber squeegee over over your carpet, and it'll pull up the embedded pet hair. So you have the squeegee, and it's kind of like you're raking, you know what I'm saying? But you're pulling the pet hair out of the carpet. And so those were just a few tips for your floors, your carpet, and like your hardwood, yeah. So, I mean, I know I'm kind of running through it, so y'all can always go back and, you know, replay the video, or, you know, a lot of these you could just Google. These are just really good tips. And so moving on to doors, we talk about wood doors first. First, you have your varnish, your stain or painted doors. So, and a lot of times people don't think to like clean the door. My doors need to be clean right now. I'm gonna just be honest. My front door, it ain't crazy, but it definitely needs some attention. And every time I walk towards it and I come home from work, I just stare at it. And then I come on in the house and I forget it. But I still need to do it. I'll do it one day. I'll do it one day. But if you have wood doors, then you want to clean because it does add a nice appeal. I'm not gonna lie. Like you may not care or you may not notice, you know how you just walk through the door every day. So you know it's kind of there, but you're not really just leaning into paying attention to it. But trust me, when other people walk up to your home, they pay attention. You can't, you just can't help it. Um, so it's a good thing to do. Like I said, I need to do better, but I ain't gonna do it no time soon because I'm just not. But for those that do, you want to dust first. You want to wipe your door panels and edges with a microfiber cloth to remove dust before you're wet cleaning. So microfiber towels and cloths are so good to have on deck all the time. Like they are a real game changer versus just a regular, towel. So for wood doors, you grab a microfiber cloth and just wipe the door down, and it's going to remove all of that gunk before you actually, because you're going to have to wet clean. You're going to have to use water and actually wash the door. But you don't want to just go to washing the door with all this stuff on there. It may have spider webs and um, grass and debris. If you just go to wetting it and scrubbing, it's just going to make it kind of murky and muddy, and it's dirty. You're just wiping in dirt. So you don't want to do that. You want to get the dirt and the dust off first, and then you'll go to your wet cleaning. And for your wet cleaning, you can mix a few drops of dish soap in a warm bucket of water, and dip your soft cloth, wring it out well with a clean towel, and just wipe the door down. And there are some people like they are adamant about, like my neighbor's like 77, I think. But she's going to that front porch. She's going to make sure that front porch is together, and she's going to clean her front door. She's 77, so I need to get my life together. And it's not like I can't do it. I just don't wanna. Just don't want to right now. It's just not on my list of top things to do right now. But she inspires me. She does inspire me. And let me tell you what she does. She bring a mop and a bucket out there. Now I'm not doing all that. Now I can still, and I know, I guess for her age, she uses a mop. She has a hardcore old school mop, and she bring a bucket out there with some warm soapy water, and she get that mop and she dip it in that mop water, and she take that mop and all over her door, like she clean all over the door. And I don't even know whether she even wipe it down after that. I don't even stay out there long enough to know, because I ain't finna clean no door. I don't even be, and I know I'm not gonna use a mop, but I'll use a towel and some soapy water, and I'll just, and I'm sure for her it is because of her age. She can't just be out there just, and she can't reach those spots, so she get the mop. So I get it. I'm just no, I'm not doing all that. But yeah, she uses a mop to clean her door, so that's an option if you want to. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I would just do it a different way, because I have mop water slinging everywhere. It wouldn't go well. I know me. So to tackle fingerprints, you can dab a cloth with half and half water and vinegar to remove greasy prints, especially like on the handles. And vinegar is another thing too that you'll find that you can create a lot of DIY solutions with for cleaning. That's really, really good. So you're going to do even parts water and vinegar, and it'll remove all the greasy prints off of your door, off the handles especially. Um, you can use an old soft toothbrush for like your detailing, around the knobs and all those cracks and crevices that, you may not be able to get to with your hand. Toothbrushes are a really good tool for like fine detailing. So when you're doing your door, those little, maybe some spots, I'm sure it will, that you just won't be able to get on your own with your hand towel. So use a old soft, and make sure it's a soft toothbrush too, because you don't want to mess up your door. If you have paint or whatever the case, you don't want to mess it up. So make sure that it's soft. and just get all the places where all the dirt collects in those little crevices. You can apply a small amount of furniture polish to a cloth and buff the door for shine and protection. You don't have to be greasy, just a small amount, and just buff it out. And honestly, it makes a whole difference. Like, so for my clients, when I do their door, I do their deep cleanings, it makes a hell of a difference. It's a night and day difference. It really is. Like I said, just for my own door, I just don't care that much. I just don't. But it looks, I'll be like, man, that look nice, and I'm still not gonna do it. So if you have glass doors, you can mix equal parts of white vinegar and water in a spray bottle, and you can spray and then wipe with a lint-free cloth for a streak-free glass. And then, of course, like old school, take some crumpled up newspaper. And I don't know, that just works best. I've used different methods for cleaning glass. Now, a lot of times I just don't feel like dealing with the newspaper. I don't feel like dealing with the ink. It'd be the ink for me that kind of pushed me away from that. But so far as results, the newspaper does a hell of a job. I cannot lie. I just don't like dealing with the ink, and I don't like dealing with all the crumpled up paper. Like if I'm at home, it's okay because I'm at home. But if I'm at a client's, like I'm trying to be effective and I'm trying to be efficient, I don't want to be dealing with all the ink because the ink gonna get on you, and I don't be want to deal with all that like newspaper because a lot of clients, they have a lot of glass, they have a lot of and it's not only for like glass doors, but I mean like for the windows and mirrors. You can use that thing for everywhere. So I just don't be wanting to deal with a whole bunch of newspaper everywhere and a bunch of ink everywhere. So when I first started cleaning, I did that in the beginning. Like I'd be getting newspapers all the time because the results would just be magnificent. But I've learned to still get a really good shine on my doors and mirrors and stuff like that. But I'll find myself having to work a little bit more for it versus the newspaper. The newspaper be getting it. So just the thoughts. Um, and if you want to, you can add a little lemon to your glass cleaner, and it just give it a little extra power. So the glass cleaner is to um, get it all nice and shiny, sparkly or whatever. But the lemon juice, it adds a little punch, and it helps like with your grease. If you have grease on your door, kind of like a all-purpose window cleaner or something like that. Lemon juice is good too. Now, if you have a painted door, um, you can use one of those magic erasers, a damp magic eraser to get scuffs and marks off of your doors. But please be careful when you have painted doors. You want to test, don't be so rough with it. And then you want to maybe perhaps just test a little spot, because what you don't want to do is, mess up your paint. If it's already messed up, you don't want to mess it up anymore. You know what I'm saying? And some people might just not care. They just want the scuffs off. I don't know. But I'm just saying, you may want to test it. I would want to test it before you just, because after you've done it, it ain't no going back. Now you got to go correct some stuff. And, that's not why we're here. Also, for your painted doors, you can make a baking soda paste for your stubborn spots. And you can just combine baking soda and water and rub gently with a cloth and wipe clean. And so when you make a paste, you just get some baking soda, pour a little water, and just add it. It doesn't need to be liquidy, but you need to make, just like I said, like a paste. And you just put it on there, just rub it on there, kind of like an exfoliant or something for your door. And put it on there and then just wipe clean. Now, if you have a metal or exterior door, you can wipe with a soft cloth dipped in warm soapy water, rinse with plain water, and dry thoroughly for like metal doors. And if you have rust spots, you can rub lightly with, again, a paste made of baking soda and water, and just rinse and dry well. Like I said, that baking soda, that's baking soda, vinegar, shaving cream, peroxide, lemon juice, like Dawn dish detergent. Like you can combine those things and get some really, really good results when it comes to cleaning, especially if you're trying to do some DIY um, cleaning tips. Polish your knobs and handles and hinges with a bit of vinegar. You can use vinegar or a metal polish. So if you just got some vinegar in the house and you don't have any metal polish, I mean, I have metal polish, but it's because I clean. If I didn't like clean other, when I was clean other people's homes, if I didn't clean other people's homes, I probably wouldn't have no metal polish over here anyway. I would probably just use some vinegar. You know, you can use a lot of the stuff you can use is right there in your kitchen or pantry or your garage or something. Um, and so, you know, it's not really a big deal with doors. It's not like this really big uh, rocket science project when it comes to doing your floors or your doors. It's basically just typical standard cleaning. I throw in, like I said, some DIYs that you can use. It's just about getting the task done. Be careful. Like I said, when you're doing stuff, you may want to test in small spots and areas when it comes to your floors. And, you know, do your research too. I tell people all the time when you're dealing with your floors. I have some clients, they have like certain special floors and they have special products that they use on their floor. And they don't want you using nothing else. And there's no shade to whatever I use, but people just tend to stick with what works for them. You know, people pay all that good money on their floors and they want to ensure that, you know, it stay, you know, well kept. You do not want to have a moment where, I mean, that's scary. I had a client one time and she had wood floors, but she had like some bamboo type wood floors. It was some different type of wood. So what typically works in my method for cleaning floors, hardwood floors, like every other house, my whole cleaning career, it worked every single time. And I would make a DIY solution. It was actually a solution I just shared with y'all. And I mean, it would get those floors, I mean, together. It would get those floors together. And then I get to her house and it was a different type of special floor. And I don't think that she mentioned that to me when I'm almost positive she didn't. She didn't mention that to me, you know, when it was time to do the floors. And so as I was mopping the floors looked great. Like they were looking, had that shine. And I'm telling you that floor, it held until probably I got home, you know, after the floors had dry. Because when I do floors at a client's house, I always mop. That's the last thing I do before I leave. And I literally mop myself out the house. Like I'm mopping backwards as I'm leaving their door. Like, all right, y'all, I'm about to leave. You can send me my money. They'll have it somewhere on my way out. Um, and I literally mopped myself out. So I'm mopping out and I'm like, see ya. And did that. And so like the next day, I think I got a call and she was like, Kia, she was like, my floors. And what happened with that particular solution, it made the floors look real dry and ashy. It didn't have any life or moisture to it. And I'm like, dear God, um, just because you have just because you have insurance for your business don't necessarily mean you're trying to use it. You know what I'm saying? And then you don't want the client to be dissatisfied and not trust you. And so that was a lesson for me. And I haven't had too many like accidents over the years. Like I'm so thankful. And sometimes it happens. It's, you know, it's just life, but you better be able to correct those mistakes. Either you be able to clean it and get it back right, or you better have the money to correct it if something go terribly bad. Um, so I came back the next day after I figured out like what kind of floor she had, and I did my research and I figured up, and so I was able to restore her floors, and so they look great. So she called me the next day, and I was like, "Oh, thank you, God." I did not need that, you know, and then, you know, you coming to, you know, someone's coming to your house to, you know, clean your house. And so you want things to be good. You don't want things to be messed up and feeling all regretful because you let somebody come in here and You know what I'm saying? So I made it right. And even since then, she's called me back several times. So it was, I love when people are very understanding, but yeah, I never made that mistake again. So now I just try to make sure to ask more questions when they have like hardware, because those floors are different. They're just different. So make sure that you test out, these little hacks in small spots, when you are, doing them. So, just a few other little random chore reminders. You can never just get enough tips. So, I'll be tips for days, but um, clean and disinfect your light switches and door handles because they get touched all the time by everybody. Your baseboards, run a dry sheet along the baseboards after dusting. It helps repel future dust. So after you clean your baseboards real good, run a dry sheet. Some people just take their hand and just go through there, and and that's hard. And then some people they figure out a way to rig it on your broom, put the dry sheets on the bristles of the broom, and just go along the baseboards. That's easier. And so as dust come along in the future, it doesn't stick to the baseboards. Of course, clean those ceiling fans and blades. I did a tip not too long ago about that as well. You have ceiling fans, you can grab an old pillowcase and you take it and put the blade inside of the pillowcase and wipe the blade clean so that you don't have, it'll get it clean and it won't have ceiling fan dust all over your floor or in your bed or wherever. Um, for TV remotes and electronics, just get a cotton swab dipped in like alcohol and just plain regular rubbing alcohol, to clean the crevices and all the buttons, because again, it's one of those things that get touched a lot. And about once a month, remove and rinse your dishwasher filter if you use a dishwasher, and do that about once a month. It prevents like odors and like residue on your dishes. So I experience that a lot. Like I don't use, even if my client has a dishwasher and they use the dishwasher, I don't use the dishwasher. Like I always hand do the dishes, but I always peek and take a look inside of the dishwasher. And that's the reason I don't want to use it, because you can smell the inside of the dishwasher. Because I'm like, and it'd be like clean dishes in there. And you can still, and it's still like a smell. So it's like, I'm not gonna put no dishes in here. Like I don't feel like it's clean like that. Um, but if you do use a dishwasher, take the filter out once a month, rinse it out, because it will cause problems if you don't. And if you don't feel like moving like your appliances, like your fridge, your refrigerator, or your stove, so you can take a yardstick, or you can take like the end of a broom, and you can put a wet towel, you know, and put whatever you like to put on there, Odoban or sail suds or whatever, and you put it on the end of the yardstick or the broom or mop handle or whatever, and you can slide it under your refrigerator or under your stove, opposed to, now you do need to do like, during your spring cleaning and stuff. Now they do need to come away from the wall and out of the space that it's in order to really clean, in order to really sweep. But in the meantime, if you just want to do a little tidying, a little damage control, you can use the yardstick or the end of the broom with the wet towel and just kind of go under the stove and the refrigerator. Make sure to wash your shower curtain and your liner often. A lot of people don't do that. They just kind of, just make it a habit to wash the shower curtain liner. Another thing too in the bathroom is soak your toothbrush holder. That's another thing that I notice too when I go to clients' houses too, go in the bathroom and you're cleaning up and you're picking up the stuff off of the countertops and stuff, and you see the toothbrush holder, and it'd be so disgusting on the inside. Ugh. It'd be so disgusting. So, and it's just one of those things, like you just brush your teeth, do what you do, put it back in there, but like all that nasty mouth water or whatever, it drips and drizzles down into and it be funky. Be funky is what it be. And you just, just one of those things, and people just keep going on about their day. So make sure to take the time to take your toothbrushes and stuff out and just run some warm, hot, soapy water and just let it just soak and let all that gunk lift. You know, that stuff calcify or whatever it is, and it just be a mess. Or put it in your dishwasher. For trash cans, you can rinse and wipe with vinegar. Vinegar is so good, and it's so good for like odor, absorbent odor as well, just like the baking soda. Then sprinkle baking soda in the bottom of your trash can to absorb the odors because it's trash. Speaking of trash, Eli took the trash out today, and I don't know why and how it be trash that don't be inside the bag. It just be at the bottom of the trash, and he had to change the trash, and I bet you $20 that he didn't get that trash. I know he did because I know Eli. He didn't take that trash from the bottom and put it into a bag, but that's all right. As soon as I get off of this podcast, as soon as I get off this podcast, as soon as I get off the podcast, and for your washing machine, you can run an empty cycle with hot water and 2 cups of white vinegar, and that's to clean the drum in your washing machine. So 2 cups of white vinegar and put it on a cycle with hot water. You can gently roll a lint roller over lampshades to remove dust and hair. That's a good tip that I like to use. It's really good about picking up hair and dust. And then so like for your shower head, a lot of people don't think about it, but I know people be saying it because you be, excuse me, in the shower. And I know you be looking at it. You know, you take a shower and after so long, you start to see that white stuff on your shower head. You know, it's all those minerals and deposits of calcium or whatever that stuff is. And it just sits there and it calcifies over time. And it will even affect the way that your water comes out of the shower head. So what you want to do is grab like a baggie. I'll take like a Ziploc bag, depending on how big your shower head is. You can use like a quart size bag or maybe a gallon size bag, and you fill it with vinegar and you put it up on the shower head where the water is up in there, you know, and it touches the shower head and the vinegar. And I just tie like a rubber band around it, and then you leave it overnight, and then I'm telling you, when you see it again the next day, all of that gunk and all of that grime that was on your shower head, you know, it'll be floating around in the vinegar now, and it'll be, you know, your shower head will be clean, and I bet it's going to work even better. A lot of people don't think about this. Clean your broom. Soak your broom, the bristles of your broom, and hot water about once a month. That's a good tip. And I don't really do that either. I need to. That's really a good tip. But just think you just got the same dirt, same this, same brine. There's no telling what you might sweep. You know what I'm saying? So it's just good, a good preventative tip, you know, to soak it in there. It's one of those things I'm saying, like, yeah, I know it's good and it sounds like a good idea now. We'll talk on the next podcast. The answer's probably gonna be no, but it is a good tip, y'all. Um, you can put tea bags or baking soda inside shoes overnight to absorb odor. So if you got kids and they're into sports, or you know, just sometimes, you know, hard working men, or just sometimes people feet just stink. You know what I'm saying? They just do. Um, I knew about the baking soda, and I've just recently stumbled upon the tea bags. And I don't know, I think I like the tea bags better because it's, you know, just a tea bag and you can just drop it in there versus, you know, pouring the baking soda in there and, you know, having all that powder and having all of that. But either way, it will get rid of the odor. And especially if you keep your shoes like in your room, close to you, you know, in your closet, and it's enclosed. You know, nobody wants to smell. Like I flipped out the other day. I think it was Kabaya, somebody that had slipped on their shoes and didn't put on. Why'd you put on some socks? Your feet don't stink. Like nobody want to smell no stinky shoes and no stinky feet. So tea bags and baking soda. Um, and oh, you can add a few drops of essential oil inside of your vacuum bag or the canister in your vacuum. And so, like when you're vacuuming, have you ever been vacuuming and even though you cleaning the floor and getting the dirt, you had this smell like this, you know, but you know it's coming from the you know it's coming from the vacuum cleaner. You know it's coming from the vacuum cleaner, but it'd be like a smell, and it's not a good smell. It's like, oh my gosh, like I'm vacuuming the floor, but then it's like this smell. You can put some essential oil in the bag or in the canister, depending on what type of vacuum that you have. So then when you vacuum, and of course you got to clean it out. So a lot of times people just have their vacuum cleaner just full of dirt, and they let the dirt sit there like forever. So that's what it just kind of ferments or something in there. I don't know. But you have to clean it often, because if not, whatever's in there, and just think you don't know what the vacuum cleaner then picked up. And now it's just in there. And then the way that the air cycles, when you're vacuuming the floor, like you can actually smell that mess. So, make sure to clean out the canister, clean or change out the bag. And then, like, if you just, like I said, if you have like a fresh bag or a fresh canister, and just drop a few, drops of essential oil, whatever you're liking, whatever your preference, it'll make for a better experience when you are vacuuming your floors. Yeah, I did good. Right at an hour almost. And that's really all that I have. Like I said, I just wanted to go in a little bit more detail about floors and doors, and then just throw out some extra tips, because you can never have enough. You can never have enough tips. Like I say, even with all this, it's something for everybody. It's just something for everybody. I don't utilize all the tips. I don't need all the tips. There are good tips, and then who knows, I may need it in the future sometime. I'm not sure, but they're just really, really good to have. So I hope that, like I say, it can go on and forever and ever and ever. But I hope that I provided some that'll be useful and helpful to you all. Man, y'all joined and hung out with me for an hour. So I hope you picked up something, you know what I'm saying, that'll help. Um, and I guess the biggest tip of the evening is to do the work. You got to do the work, and give you all the tips, all the time, all the days. I can do all of that, all the things I can do, but you have to do the work. You have to actually implement it, and you have to do it. So do the work, but also give yourself grace. Like I say, we be talking about cleaning and life and everything in between. And between your cleaning, it's a lot of life going on out here. So I know sometimes I can be hard on myself, because, sometimes you just don't feel like it. Dear God, you just don't sometimes. And it's okay, especially when, like for me, I know that I'm productive. I'm not lazy by no means. Um, and even though I know all of that, sometimes I don't give myself enough grace, because in my mind going, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. And if I can do it by this time, then I don't have to worry about this. And like, sometimes I just have to a lot of times I just have to slow down. It's like, Kia, you're doing the work. You're just going to have to give yourself grace. Everything that you do that's intentional, it takes time, energy, and effort. Time, energy, and effort. You have to be intentional. You got to do the work, and it's going to require time, energy, and effort. And at the end of the day, y'all, sometimes it's just a lot. So I don't mean to be on here just like it ain't no big deal. Mop them floors, sweep it, make a solution, create like it ain't like that. Like, the information is out here to, utilize and use, but everybody is, busy and got a lot going on. Now, close your ears. And then a lot of times people be out here bullshitting too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you're not doing what you know that you need to do or that you're supposed to. So, you be complaining, that things need to be done. They have to get done in order to have a better flow. Have a better journey out here. You can't just be, oh, I'm tired. I'm this. Well, you know what? You're gonna have to figure out what's making you tired, so that you can get the work done, get the job done. But at the end of the day, we are all in this, and we got this. We got this. So I appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for tuning in, and until next time, y'all be good. Bye.
Why do I need to be good all the time? I'm wrapped around his finger, but he is mine. Don't care what they say, too late anyway. Why do I need to be good all the time? drama here. Nah, nah, nah. No drama, no drama here. Nah, nah, nah. No drama.